Welcome to Tales of Honor, a podcast with a mission to tell the true stories of every recipient of our nation's highest military award, the Medal of Honor. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tales of Honor podcast. I'm your host, Christoph Ambrosch, and today's episode is episode number 622, the last for the month of May, but not the last for our batch of Medal of Honor recipients that are currently living, which we're working our way through here. According to my list, after this episode, we'll be 80% complete with all living recipients, having completed 52 of the 66 living recipients, so that is a very good thing. Trucking right along, carrying on, and I have one birthday to go over today, and that birthday belongs to Mr. Robert Foley, whose birthday was yesterday, May 30th, 1941. Mr. Foley is a former U.S. Army Lieutenant General that earned the Medal of Honor for his actions during the Vietnam War. So a very happy 82nd birthday to Mr. Robert Foley yesterday. I did cover his story back on episode number 307. I'll have a link in the show notes for you to go check out at your convenience. Let's see here. I do have one other bit of news to go over here. This regards the last episode, which covered the story of Mr. Alan Kellogg. I actually had a message that day, just before the episode came out and shortly after I had recorded and posted, from Mr. Kellogg's one of his daughters. And I was a little bit back and forth with Tanya, and I do have a correction to issue. In the story, I had said that he had 2 daughters and a son. Well, that was grossly incorrect. Actually, Mr. Kellogg has 7 children: Rhonda, Chrissy, Tanya, Jay, Megan, Aaron, and Maylee. So my sincerest apologies for getting this incorrect. By the time you're hearing this, I will have already made the correction on the website in the story itself. And it just goes to show you, no matter how much you dig around, sometimes you just cannot find everything. And sometimes it's better off to just not either say it or to get it wrong and correct it later. Unfortunately, usually nobody listens to or cares about corrections or retractions, but I still got to do it. So there it is. I was wrong. Don't hold it against me. So without any further ado, and with all the business out of the way, let's get into today's Tale of Honor. Joseph, also known as Bob, was born on the 27th of August 1943 in Lincoln, Nebraska, and was one of 7 children. His father's grandfather had served in the Army under then General Grant, and Bob's father and uncle were both in the U.S. Army during World War II. When Bob graduated from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln with a Bachelor of Science degree in pharmacy, he knew he was likely to be drafted and instead volunteered for the U.S. Navy in October of 1966. Following officer candidate school, he attended basic underwater demolition SEAL training and graduating with Class 42 in December of 1967, then going on to join SEAL Team 1. By January of 1969, Bob was deployed to the Republic of Vietnam and within 3 months would display actions that would earn him the Medal of Honor. The citation reads,
Lieutenant Junior Grade Joseph R Kerrey, while serving as a SEAL team leader on an island in the Bay of Nha Trang, Republic of Vietnam, on 14 March 1969.
For conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity at the risk of his life above and beyond the call of duty while serving as a SEAL team leader during action against enemy aggressor Viet Cong forces. Acting in response to reliable intelligence, Lieutenant Junior Grade Kerrey led his SEAL team on a mission to capture important members of the enemy's area political cadre known to be located on an island in the Bay of Nha Trang. In order to surprise the enemy, he and his team scaled a 350-foot sheer cliff to place themselves above the ledge on which the enemy was located. Splitting his team in 2 elements and coordinating both, Lieutenant Junior Grade Kerrey led his men in the treacherous downward descent to the enemy's camp. Just as they neared the end of their descent, intense enemy fire was directed at them, and Lieutenant Junior Grade Kerrey received massive injuries from a grenade which exploded at his feet and threw him backward on the jagged rocks. Although bleeding profusely and suffering great pain, he displayed outstanding courage and presence of mind in immediately directing his element's fire into the heart of the enemy camp. Utilizing his radio man, Lieutenant Junior Grade Kerrey called in a 2nd Element's fire support, which caught the confused Viet Cong in a devastating crossfire. After successfully suppressing the enemy's fire, and although immobilized by his multiple wounds, he continued to maintain calm, superlative control as he ordered his team to secure and defend an extraction site. Lieutenant Junior Grade Kerrey resolutely directed his men, despite his near-unconscious state, until he was eventually evacuated by helicopter. The havoc brought to the enemy by this very successful mission cannot be overestimated. The enemy soldiers who were captured provided critical intelligence to the Allied effort. Lieutenant Junior Grade Kerrey's courageous and inspiring leadership, valiant fighting spirit, and tenacious devotion to duty in the face of almost overwhelming opposition sustained and enhanced the finest traditions of the U.S. Naval Service. Bob was evacuated to Japan and then brought back to the States, where he spent 8 months recovering in the Philadelphia Naval Hospital. His right leg below the knee was amputated, and a little over a year after his actions, Bob traveled to the White House to receive the Medal of Honor from President Nixon on the 14th of May, 1970. In a ceremony with 11 others, he begrudgingly accepted the medal, even though previously stating that he didn't want to accept it and wasn't a fan of military medals or the culture that surrounds them. Bob went back to working as a pharmacist, this time at the University of Nebraska Medical Center, before owning a few restaurants and having a few more surgeries that helped him walk better. He was briefly married to Beverly Defnall, with whom he had a son and daughter, and he then entered the world of politics. Bob served as the governor of Nebraska from 1983 to 1987, a senator from 1989 to 2001, and ran for president of the U.S. in 1992, losing the nomination to Bill Clinton. He was remarried to Sarah Paley, with whom he had another son, and served on the 9/11 Commission after the terror attacks in 2001. Bob wrote a book in 2002 called When I Was a Young Man, a Memoir, which he also narrated the audiobook. He did try to get his old senator seat back in 2012, but was not successful, leading him to serve as a director for several health care companies. Joseph Robert Kerrey is 79 years old as of this recording. And that was a Tale of Honor. Thank you for listening to Tales of Honor, and if you enjoyed the show, please be sure to subscribe and tell your friends and family. Tales of Honor is written and produced by Christoph Ambrosch, and theme music is Loyalty and Duty by Floruz Music. If you have any questions, you can send an email to talesofhonorpodcast@gmail.com, and please be sure to visit talesofhonorpodcast.com for more episodes and information.